Have you ever had a memory so vivid, so haunting that you're convinced it's real? Or maybe, just maybe, it's better not to know. Because sometimes the truth is far more terrifying than your imagination. Let me tell you about my dad's childhood home and the presence that never truly left. My dad grew up in this old Victorian house in a small, quiet town. You know the kind: creaky floorboards, drafty hallways, and windows that rattled in the wind. He used to tell me about strange things happening there: doors that would open on their own, footsteps in the attic when no one was up there. But the one thing he could never forget was her. He'd wake up some nights to see a faint glow outside his bedroom door. Through the crack, he'd spot her, a woman dressed in pale, tattered clothing holding a single rusted wind chime. She'd move slowly down the hallway, her face shadowed, her steps eerily silent. The wind chime didn't make a sound, but the sight of it, swaying in her hands as if carried by an invisible breeze, was enough to send chills down his spine. As a kid, he thought it was a dream, a trick of the light, something his mind made up to explain the unexplainable. But it wasn't just at night. Sometimes during the day he'd hear faint chiming, a slow, haunting melody that seemed to drift through the house. Once, while playing in the living room, he thought he saw her reflection in the glass of the china cabinet, just for a moment. But when he turned around, there was nothing there. Years passed. My dad grew up and moved out. He chalked it all up to childhood imagination. That is, until one ordinary day at work. He was at his job, sitting in the break room, when a woman started talking about her house. She'd just moved in and said something that froze him mid-sip of his coffee. "It's a beautiful house," she said, "but I swear, it's haunted. I keep seeing this figure of a woman with a wind chime. It's like she's searching for something." He put his cup down, his hand trembling, and asked her, "Where is your house?" She gave him the address. It was the same house, the very house he had grown up in. He tried to play it cool, but he couldn't shake the chill running down his spine. That night he called my grandmother, his voice shaking as he asked her, "Mom, do you remember the stories I used to tell you about the woman with the wind chime?" There was a long silence on the other end of the line before she finally said, "Of course I do, but we didn't want to scare you." "What do you mean?" he asked. And that's when she told him. She and my grandfather had both seen her too. The same woman with the wind chime, the same slow, searching movements. They never told him because they thought if they ignored it, maybe it would go away. The woman at my dad's work moved out not long after. She said the activity in the house was getting worse. Doors slamming, whispers in the night, and once, she woke up to find the woman standing at the foot of her bed, the wind chime swaying gently in her hand, though the air was still. My dad hasn't been back to that house since. He says he doesn't need to. The memories are enough. And sometimes, when he's alone late at night, he'll swear he hears that same slow, haunting chiming, like she's still searching. Some stories stay with you, and some houses, they never let go.